ThaBoxingvoice.com, live here with Steven Espinoza. Steven, I wanted to ask you, obviously, with the big announcement that Showtime is basically taking the lead with Anthony Joshua and Wladimir Klitschko and airing it live. Just what was it for you and Showtime that you wanted to air it live? Did you feel that you would have more viewers at a 6 o'clock opposed to the HBO 10:45?
Yeah, I mean, our emphasis or our desire was to get the live, and an event that big, there's just an added immediacy. There's a certain specialness. When you're a boxing fan, you want to see it live. That event is big enough that there's going to be a big audience for a late night replay as well. So it's not as if that's not worth anything. But the reality is, we wanted to do the live. We've got the long-term relationship with Joshua, and we think that's going to be hopefully a long-term relationship. So we were thrilled to be able to work out a deal to get it live.
You both have the rights to replays and
yes.
on demands?
Yes. We'll do the live. They'll do the exclusive replay, and then starting Sunday, everyone's can replay it and put it on demand and everything.
Now, as far as Deontay Wilder is concerned, who obviously Showtime is invested in, is going over across the pond to actually be an announcer on Sky. Is it your goal to get him immediately in the ring? Because he did take to social media about 24 hours ago and said something big is coming outside of being over there. But there is that rematch clause. How do we get around that and get a unification? Because Eddie Hearn's already saying that Joshua, if he wins, he's dropping the IBF so he doesn't have to face Pulev.
Right. We'll have to see what happens on the night of April 29th because, no one can really predict what happens. This sport is truly unpredictable. So, whether there's a rematch, really, in reality, we won't know until the 29th or later. So it's a little difficult to make plans in that context. But there's one thing, both guys have indicated it's time for big fights. Joshua's at the career. Once you go up to a Klitschko type fight, you don't want to fall back to smaller fights if you can. And Deontay, had a bit of a setback last year. Last year was not, the highest of career highs for him. He had a big fight Povetkin set up. Didn't happen through no fault of his own. Then he suffered the injury, and it sort of put a damper on the rest of the year. So he's back. He's ready for big fights. And I do think that within a pretty short amount of time, you'll see Wilder and Joshua fighting.
In the case of Wladimir, I guess the critics want to say he's been out of the ring too long. What about the fact that those 2 years out of the ring could have given him some sort of rejuvenation? We've seen him most recently say that he's not afraid of Joshua and his muscles, even though he feels the muscles add confidence to Joshua. This is boxing, the sweet science, something that Wladimir has proven he can do for quite a long time. What sort of chance are you giving Wladimir in this fight? I know the Showtime is invested in Joshua, but how live of a dog is, Mr. Klitschko?
I think there are a lot of people who are looking back at Klitschko Fury and saying, well, Klitschko doesn't have anything left. The reality is Tyson Fury is a tough opponent. He is 6'9", he's got long arms, he's really awkward. Nobody looks good against Tyson Fury. So if you're judging what Klitschko has left based on the Tyson Fury fight, I think you're making a mistake. He's got a ton of experience, and as you say, sometimes time off actually rejuvenates. You look at someone like Mikey Garcia, took 2 years off, didn't really show ring rust, and he says physically his body feels as good as it ever has and doesn't look like he's missed a beat. So I don't think the inactivity is really going to be a factor. I think this is a much more competitive fight. If I was putting odds, I'd put it at even odds. I don't see how Joshua is a 2-to-1 favorite.
You're obviously being waited on, so last one.
Sure.
Who is the last man standing based off your experience in this heavyweight division?
It's funny because you can make a case for any of those three guys. Whether you say Klitschko, still has the experience, still has, a long decade of domination. You can look with the strength and the physical talent that Joshua has, or you can look at Deontay Wilder, and his physical tools and his experience. I think this could be something where you have a really interesting round robin, depending on how long Klitschko wants to stick around.
Well, thank you, Steven.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
No problem.